Hey, good morning. So today I'm going to go through, it's probably going to be a long video. I'm going to go through every single race that was yesterday. I'm going to show you how I read the portal, what I did during that, which trades I should make, and it's going to be very consistent. I'm going to highlight some anomalies, but not going to keep them. I'm going to show you exactly how I trade, um, which I placed the bets at, what stake I used. So first thing I want to mention is the staking. I use my own personal staking calculator. I can put this in the group chat. I think you can use it as well. Um, and essentially, what it does is it dynamically changes the stake depending on the odds. So if I was betting on odds of evens, it would stake £125. If I was staking odds of 20, it would stake £9. And this is all relative to the amount of bank required on its maximum losing streak. So I believe to level stakes, your stay was about plus 40. Probably less. I haven't calculated yet. We'll do that live. So we go what my recommended stakes are, but it'll be less than that, I'd imagine. But again, at odds of 2, we could probably expect to lose 40 units in a row. At odds of 40, we might expect to lose 1,000 units in a row. So it'd be stupid to recommend doing level stakes unless your bankroll is huge. So you'll see in each race, I've broken them down into these 3 boxes. So box 1 is obviously zone 1, box 2 is zone 2, and box 3 is zone 3. So zone 1 is 0 to 10. Zone 2 is 10 to 20. And zone 3 is 20 plus. We only stake when there is 1 green in its zone. So if there's 2 greens in a zone, we don't play. Now, there's a lot of anomalies that I'll point out, and this isn't necessarily the most efficient way. In fact, I believe staking and dutching the 2 C1.1s in zone 1 probably is more efficient. But this is a beginner's sort of how I break down a race, what I look for guide. It's not a cover-all. There's obviously lots of variations, and I'll try and point them out when I see them. But as a general rule of thumb, if you look in these zones and you see one line of full green, then all reds or no other full greens, then it's probably a good trade to make. So we also, the final rule is we only play in races 6 to 13 runners. Anything above 13 runners, we end up getting into the dangerous zone of people backing for extra places that Betfair don't provide. Anything below 6 runners, we get a lot more anomaly tactical rides and just a bit, the portal acts a bit different. So let's have a look. Race 1, very simple, has 14 runners, therefore it's a no bet. Race 2 has 20 runners and it's a no bet. Race 3, now we'll see we have Brecon Beacons is 0 to 10. So we can see in our 1 minute price the odds. So we had a 1.94, a 5.7, and then the next price was 11. Now 11 then becomes its own zone, which is zone 2. So we see 1 green in zone 1. We see 1 full green in zone 2. And then here we get to our first point. That a 0 is counted as a green in my eyes. Now you can take that and not use it. Just in my personal opinion, greens often zeros are often good, so I count them as a green. So in this race, I would have traded 3. So we have Brecon Beacons, who at 5.7 lost. We have Noche Classica, who at 19.5 win. And then we have Princess Amber at 22, who lost. Okay, so we've got 3 trades because there's 1 green in each of the 3 independent zones. So you could, when you look at this, you might see Noche and Princess Amber are very green and close together. But that doesn't matter because you've got to think independent of their own zone. In each of these zones, there's just 1 green and a red, bit of green, but full 5 green, 0, and obviously one of them won, which was the C2. Next race, 16 winners, no bet. Next race, 4 winners, no bet. Then we have this race, which is 11 winners. We can see that there's 2 trades in this. We have Tadej, who at 2.081, and we have Mr. Freeman, who at 21 lost. So you can see that in this one there was 1 green in the zone 1 box, 0 to 10. There was no greens in our 10 to 20 zone, and in our 20 plus zone we have 1 green. In this race we have no greens in zone 2 or 3, and we have 3 greens in zone 1, therefore we do not trade because there's 3 greens. In this race at Haydock we have no half measures, which is a full green, but if you look we have Chagrin, which is a 0, and Liavoni, which is a 0, and as I said, 0s are greens, so these two now would make it into a 3 green zone 1 box. And then zone 2, you can see here that slight mistake, zone 2, which is on its own there because it's 10 to 20, is on its own. So we would play Democracy Dilemma, Democracy, at 18, and it lost. So you see, this one here has 3 greens, no half measures, Liavani, Chagrin. Democracy Dilemma in its own zone, 10 to 20, has 1 green, and then 20 plus has 2 reds. So the next race is Sunny Boy Liston. Sunny Boy at 1.7. And again, 0 counts as a green. So in this case, these 0s stopped us betting, but in this case, because it makes it into a 5 green, it becomes a trade. And the rest of them are no bets. So we'll go to Sunny Boy Liston. Then the next race, we have 1 green up here, 1 green here, so no bet. We have 2 greens here, 2 greens here, so no bet, and no bet. Next race, we have Tricky Tell. Tricky Tell at 1.8. It's the only all green in its zone, so it becomes a bet. Next race, we have 2 greens at the top, so no greens down here, so it's a skip. Next race is 17 winners, we skip it. This next race has 7 winners, so we play, and it has 1 full green at the top, 1 full green at the bottom, and they both lost, so Term lost at 2.48, and Crystal lost at 24. So this next race, we have 3 zones again. We have no full greens, and by full obviously I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the board. No full green here, we have a 4. We have 2 in this box, zone 2, so again it's a skip because we only want 1. And then in zone 3 we have State Legend at 34, and it won. Should be a nice plus 29 if you're doing level, but for us it's just a smaller return. This race at Haydock, we have 3 full green at the top because the 0s count as a green, no green, and then 1 green at the bottom, Quinault, so we play Quinault at 29, and it lost. Next race, 18 winners, so we skip. Next race, 22 winners, so we skip. Next race has 10 winners, and we have 2 in the zone 1, so we skip. Zone 2, we have Struth, who lost at 13, and we have Gordon Gray, who lost at 30. So we go to the next race. We have 2 in the zone 1, and we have nothing else, so it's a skip. Just highlighting this race for a moment. So this is a sort of race you could argue you could play the 2 because everything else is drifted. So you're pretty confident one of these 2 is going to win because nothing else has any support. That could be an anomaly. It's up to you. If you were just being, hard and fast rule of thumb, 1 green per zone, then you just skip it. If you want to be a bit more aggressive or, create variations on this, that would be one where you could potentially play that I would say is a good back, just because everything else is drifted hard apart from those 2. So the likelihood one of those 2 winning is high. This race, we have 2 green, so it's a skip. This race, we have 1 green at Brilliant Light. Oh, sorry, it's 16 runners. 16 runners, so it's a no bet. The next race, we have 2 green at the top and 1 green in zone 2. So we play Forest Gunner at 11, who lost. Next race at York, we have the 1 green Munsif. Munsif at 2.52. That unfortunately lost. That's a big loss for me. Next race, we have Too Much For Me, who lost. Too Much For Me, who lost at 5.8. Then we have 2 green here, so it's a no play, and no green in zone 3. Zone 1, we have 2 green, skip, skip, skip. Next race, zone 1, next race is 18 runners, so we skip. Next race, we have 2 in zone 1, 3 in zone 1, because we include the zeros. Zone 2, we have 2 green, so we skip it. Next race is 21 runners. Then this race, we have Upator, who lost at 6. We have Sir Paul Ramsey, who lost at 30. 30. And again, because of this 0 at 15 minutes, it becomes a 5 green. Next race is 5 runners, so it's a skip. Next race is 14 runners, so it's a skip. This race, we have 2 green, because we have Alligator Alley, which is a 0 here, and we have Sanat, which is a 5 green, so it's a skip. Then we have Renoir in the next race, who lost at 2.44. And then we can't play Nathaniel Green or Jubilee because there's 2 green here. Next race, we have Arc in the Stars, who lost for us at 4.5. And we have nothing zone 2 or 3. Next race is 5, so we don't play. Then we have zone 1. We have 1 green at the Little Yank, who lost at 8.4. And then in zone 2, we have Killinor Lass, who won at 10.5. So again, you can see we have 1 full green here, 0s count as green. And then we have 1 full green in zone 2. So although it looks like they cluster together, because this one is 8.4, it falls to zone 1, and this one's 10.5, it falls to zone 2. Therefore, it's green in its independent zone, therefore we play. Next race, we have 1 full green in different drum at 8.4, that's a loss. Next race, we have 1 full green in zone 1, which is Iscar Dairy. That won at 2.44. And then we also had a play at Black Joe at 12.5. We lost. So this is one of those interesting races where you could argue, and a variation of the trade is you can play the Blacker Joe here at, say, 0.5 units. You can play Iscarderi, you can play Iscarderi at 0.5 units. It's such a low price. Blacker Joe at 0.25 units, and then put 0.25 units on the first forecast, which would have won. And the logic being that Iscarderi is so short that you're not going to make any profit. So what you can do is you can cover your bet. So if it wins, then you break even. If Blacker Joe wins, you make a lot of money. And if the reverse forecast wins, which it did in this case, you make double. So that's one way of playing by variations rather than just doing the level. Next race is 5 runners, so no bet. Next race is 14 runners, so no bet. A variation on this one is the Kyle Valley and early arrival. Anything at minus 30 or above is usually a good sign. Usually, it's actually quite negative this month, I believe about minus 100. But overall, it's about plus 500 by backing 30s and 40s at this time point. So, as you can see, Kyle Valley here at 12s. And then something else to note is walk in time doesn't necessarily stand out to you. It's 4 green. If you look at always make sure you look at the 11 a.m. price of 80 down to 11. That's a big move, big move. So that could also potentially be a variation of something to play despite not having 5 green. But for this stake, we're only doing 6 to 13 runners, so we'll skip. Next one, we have Hatsa at 5.9, that lost. And then nothing else in zone 2 or 3. We have Northern Rose, who loses at 6.2. And we have Basilet, who loses at 23. Next race, we have Justice Twice in zone 1, who lost at 4.4. And in zone 2, we have Guernsey Lady, who won at 13.5. Next race, we have nothing in zone 1, And in zone 3, we have no zone 2 because it goes from 612 to 50. We have Deedpole, who lost us at 50. Next race, we have 2 greens, zone 1, so it's no bet. We have 1 green at Golden Pharaoh, Golden. In zone 2, who loses at 19.5. Good place, but lost. Next race, we have Philly Fudge, who won at 4.6. And we have Sadie's Diamond, who lost at 18. But did place, actually came second, so you could guess another one of those where you could do the smaller bet on this, bigger bet on this, reverse forecast. Next race is 5 runners, so it's a no bet. Next race, we have 2 in zone 1, nothing else. So this is a no bet for us, but again, it's one of those ones where you could argue, well, one of these two is going to win. So that's a variation you could play. Nothing else is probably going to win because it's the drifts. But for us, we'll keep it simple. 3 zones, 1 green per zone. Nothing else will do. So zone 1, 2 green, no bet. Zone 2, 2 green, no bet. So you can see here, I'm ignoring these 2 alerts. I'm not just playing them for the sake of it. There's 2 greens here, I'm not going to play. 2 greens here, I'm not going to play. No greens here, I'm not going to play. Next race, we can see here. So this is a good one. You might think, why would you play this JT? It's a big cluster of green. But actually, it's on its own zone. So it's 3.2 to 9.8. Makes them all zone 1. JT is on his own in zone 2. And at 19, he lost. Then we have the next race, which we have Love is the Law in zone 1. At 6s, who lost. We don't have anything in zone 2, and we don't have any green in zone 3. Then we have Ellis Moore, who lost at 3 in zone 1. And in zone 2, we have Skoda, who lost at 12. Then at 8 o'clock, we have Stratford. We have AJP Kingdom in zone 1. AJP Kingdom at 4.7, who lost. We have no bet in this one due to the 2 greens in zone 1. We have 1 bet here. Oh no, this is a National Hunt flat race, so we don't bet National Hunt flat as well, so they're a bit odd, so no National Hunt flat. So I've not looked at this. Is the first time doing. I've not looked. So that would be, those would be all my selection for the day. 3 zones, only back in the greens, and I count 0 as a green. So yesterday we made £462 from an average stake of 37. So to break that down, that would be 462 divided by 37. 462 divided by 37, which equates to about plus 12. So obviously doing level, I think it worked out at plus 40 because there was loads of big odds winners. But what I want you to notice really is look at the number of losses. It's only 22.5% win rate, and plus 12 on that day. Very simple. I'm not reading too much into it. I'm not playing anything anomaly. I'm not like playing any big numbers or 40s. All I'm doing is zoning into 3 zones and backing when each zone has 1 full green. Anything more I skip. Simple as that. And that's how you can trade through the whole day's portal, make £462 profit using my calculator. You can use your own staking system, but that's how I would have done it yesterday. And hopefully you can just see how sometimes you'll get an alert, like in this race, that for 2 C2s, but actually I would skip them because they're not independent. They're in their own zone. It's a cluster of green. We're basically guessing which one's going to win, and in this case, none of them won. So that my way of doing this saved me 3 units on the C1.1 and 2 C2s. So there are going to be days where these will win, and you go, oh, bloody hell, why did I skip? I had the alert, I should have played. But you got to think long term. Like today, these saved by skipping these. It saved me 2 units. There's a lot of skips in here that saved me money. There's some skips that would have cost me money, but that's just the game. I'm happy with my plus 12, my £462 profit today. So hopefully that's a really long way of going through every single race today, showing you how I zone how I trade. Now, obviously, I don't just stick to this template, but I think as a beginner, it's a really easy way of just zoning out, reading the portal, getting comfortable reading the portal. It's not just seeing a sea of green, a sea of red. What do I do? You're only playing when there's 3 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, and 11 a.m. are all green. Or if there's a 0, which we count as a green, and we just play it when it's 1 in its zone. Nothing complicated. The stars here indicate the backs. I'll send this document so you can go through it yourself. I might have made a mistake on the zoning somewhere along the line. There's a lot of races. But hopefully that gives you a bit more confidence in just how you can break these races down into manageable chunks, how you can trade on them. And, if you want anything, if you want this calculated, let me know. It's in my group chat. If you want private lessons or one-on-one lessons, let me know. We can set this all up. But yeah, so that's how I played yesterday, and I'm going to do the exact same thing today. Maybe I lose, maybe I don't. Don't hide our winners. This is a very, very volatile winning game. So, today was plus 462. Yesterday was 462, so let's see how today goes. But I'm going to do the exact same system, and I'll catch you tomorrow with the update, and we'll just keep going from there until hopefully everybody can start being really confident in how to use this portal. Sorry it's 21 minutes long, but I thought let's go through the races properly. Let's show you exactly how I read the races, zone out, and stake. So, cool. Catch you later. Good luck today.